What's up, everybody? Back for another live Monday beer review, or I guess reviews, because I have two beers, as you can see right here. But before we get into the beers and the reviews themselves, a few things I want to mention. Number one, well, if you're watching this on replay, timestamps in the description box, they will be there. You're watching this live right now, totally no timestamps because, well, I don't think you can travel into the future. Although if you're my good buddy Lee Russell of the now defunct Hoagley's Beer Reviews and you're a time traveler, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, the second thing I do want to mention is that if you are following along in the comments, I always read the comments. And if you've had either of these beers or you've had anything from this brewery specifically, chime down in the comment section. We'll get a good back and forth going. I read all the comments, as I said, so even the bad ones. And the last thing I want to mention, I will talk about this later into today's review. But next week, I have a couple milestones on the channel for my live reviews. The first one at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be Black Butte 30th, which is the 30th anniversary of beer. And that will be also my 300th beer review here on the channel, which, I mean, you can't really beat that, right? 300 beer reviews, doing big things, not really. But I thought I would do that beer because even though we don't get to shoots in the Western New York area or in New York in general, I love what they do. I haven't reviewed any beers from them. It's an anniversary beer. I'm celebrating an anniversary, kind of a milestone. Regardless, if you can get that beer or you've had that beer, show up. We'll talk about it. Should be a good time. And then after that video, I'm going to do another review because next Monday also happens to be the first anniversary of my channel. I started my channel on April 1st of 2018. Yes, April Fool's Day, totally April Fool's Day. And I figured I would do a beer from the Firestone Walker Brewing Company, their Firestone 22, which is their 22nd anniversary beer, big barrel-aged blended beer. So 2 anniversary beers for two different milestones, 300th review, and the first anniversary of my channel. The following week on April 8th, I will be doing Dogfish Head Craft Brewery's American Beauty and Sequench, right? Sequench, that's what it's called. I've never had either of those beers. Pretty popular. American Beauty is a Grateful Dead collab, and then Sequench is their like lime something goes up. Never had either of them, believe it or not. Seen them around, especially since the American Beauty was released like 5 years ago and they re-released it. So yeah, we're going to do that. Might have a few special guests join me. It might be more of a live show than an actual review. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let me jump into the comments here, and then we will get into the actual reviews. Jesse says from Bumpy Road, all right, let's get this show on the road. And then Ashley from Ashley Sexton, I was going to say Ashley Sexton Brewing, but just from Sexton Brewing says shit show. He corrected Jesse, which is very messed up. That's messed up, Ashley. You know, support your channel. You're going to call this a shit show, even though you're 100% correct. I hate you. Chris from Off the Tent says, hello, good sir. What's up, Christopher? Thanks for stopping by. And then Jeff, a.k.a. Dojing, shows up and says, what's up, Sons? All right, listen, with the Sons thing, I know I got to say it like Dave Chappelle, but if you guys keep on posting it, and I'm going to just lose my mind at some point. So I guess keep on doing it. Anyway, that's all we got for comments. We got 6 people watching right now. So first off, I want to say, before we get into this review, I just want to say one thing. I apologize in advance for how badly I'm going to mispronounce everything when it comes to the German language here today. So for any Germans watching or anybody who cares about that, I'm telling you right now, I'm terrible at it. So just expect everything that happens in this review is going to be absolutely terrible. Like usual, though. You come to the Beer Patrol, you know exactly what's going on. Sons! I shout out to Chris. He just posted Sons. I had to do it. Anyway, so the 2 beers we will be reviewing today come from Brauerei Heller-Trum, and they're also known as Schlenkerla, and they are out of Bamberg, Germany, and we have their Helles Schlenkerla Lager, and then we have their Aecht Schlenkerla Märzen, but this is the Rauchbier, actually this is the Rauchbier Helles Märzen, but it's the re-fermented Krausen blend. So we'll get to that in a bit. I'm going to put this off camera for now because we're going to review that second, because that actually has this beer in that. So anyway, the Helles Schlenkerla Lager beer, on the back, they have a spiel here. It says, Helles Lager is brewed with fine Bavarian aroma hops and lagered in the 14th century beer cellars underneath the Schlenkerla brewery and maltings. It is boiled in the same copper kettles and bottom fermented by the same yeast as the classic Rauchbier. Its subtle smokiness hence makes it this Schlenkerla style a unique I can't speak. Like I said, I can't even speak English. Representative of the traditional German lager beer type Helles. So this is a Helles lager, and it comes in at 4.5% alcohol by volume, or is it 4.3? 4.3% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs. And here's the thing about the cans. A lot of you guys have maybe, or gals, have had this beer when it's in the 500 ml bottles, the fancy 500 ml bottles. I've actually had their base Rauchbier Märzen. I've had their Rauchbier Urbach, but the difference with these two being in the can is that there's actually a company in America called Be United, and what they do, and it's actually quite interesting because on their website they have a whole spiel about it. It's called the Tank Container Project. So what they do is there's this big climate controlled tanker, and they fill the tanker with whatever beer they're bringing over. In this case, the Helles Lagerbier. It's climate controlled. They ship it across the sea, and then when it comes to the U.S., I believe Be United's in Connecticut. They actually can it on premise in the US. So you're getting fresh, super fresh beer. You don't have to worry about bringing over kegs or cans or bottles because you're doing it all on location. And you can get it in the consumer's hands a lot fresher than you normally would. Plus, it's canned. Now, as far as the date goes on this beer, I have no idea because they only date the 4-pack holders, not the actual cans themselves. So I sent this beer to Paul over at PA Brew News, good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber. And I know Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews has reviewed this one as well, but that was summer to fall of last year. So this is probably 6 to 8 months old, this can specifically. Here's the thing though, it was kept cold the entire time at the place I bought it at, Premier Gourmet, shout out to them, Amherst, New York, and in my fridge once I bought it. So we should be okay. Now, one last thing to mention about this beer is that this beer is not brewed with smoked malts. This is actually brewed as a straight up German Helles Lager. The thing is the yeast though from this brewery being 100 plus years old, whatever the case may be, it imparts a bunch of the smoky characteristics from the brewery into the yeast strain now. So while this has no smoked malts in it, the yeast itself has a smoky characteristic. So this should have slightly smoky characteristic to it, but not as much as the rest of the beers within their series. So yeah, I'm ready to give it a go, and we'll see what's going on. Let's check out the comments. We have Todd shows up and says, Sons! And then Chris says, okay, Chris, I'm not reading that. And then Jesse from Bumpy Road says, a guy started at my work today and his first name is Son. Dad jokes all day. And then Ewart, aka Tech and Weary, says, holy Helles, who cares about this style? Alt beer for life. And that's you. Aren't you supposed to be watching Monday Night Raw right now with your son? I don't know why you're watching my show. Go watch Monday Night Raw and do something else. Then Jesse from Bumpy Road says, I'm drinking Miller Lite. It's like an American Helles. Maybe not. Probably not. Isn't that like a fine Pilsner, Jesse? And then Ewart says, F and Joe just got sold by the local beer merchant on some aged shit smoke junk. Listen, you're terrible at trolling. I need Eric Gilbert in here. At least even him when he's hammered is a better troll than you. All right, so let's give this a pour. See what we got going on. It's gonna have about a 5-finger head because I'm pouring it like an animal. Get some Dirty Glass Mafia to impress Ewart. Yeah, look at that. Look at that pour. Beautiful. Wow, that's actually way more. Look at that. That's not filtered. It is unfiltered, right? Pretty sure they say it's unfiltered. I mean, I can tell from looking at it, but I don't know if they are. Yeah, unfiltered. It says right on the label because I'm blind and can't see. Anyway, pours out this really nice, deep golden color. Haze for days. This is a New England style IPA, Ewart? No, it's not. Has about a 75-figure off-white head because I poured it like an idiot. Tons of carbonation in the glass, but it looks like a German Helles. It's going to nose. Whew, that has a slight, ever so slight smokiness to it. Yeah, it just has, like, picture yourself at a campfire and being around the campfire, but dialing that back like 75%. It just has a very nice, subtle smokiness to it. I'm getting actually a decent amount of like lemon character in this one. Yeah, a little bit of like a lemon, a pithy lemon, soft white bread, a little bit of like a grainy, sweeter aroma to it overall. Chris making all the jokes says, drinking a Polish beer, but I feel like your beer will overtake mine. I see what you did there, Chris. You're trying to subtly get in on it. I totally get it. And I'll read that because it's not that bad, but Jesus. Yeah, it doesn't smell huge with the smoke character that the other beers within the series have. And that's what I'm kind of, based on what I've read about this beer and going into what I know about it, because it doesn't use the smoke malt, I kind of see what they're saying when it comes to the subtle smokiness. Totally getting this one. But yeah, sweet white bread, lemon pith, a little bit of graininess, sweeter overall aroma with a little slightly sharp undertone smoky character. Anyway, it smells pretty good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody, or Prost. It's actually pretty good. Craig from Ken Beer Review shows up and says, yo, guys. What up, Craig? Right up front, though, you don't really get the smokiness. You're hit with sweet white bread, sweeter malts and grains, a little bit of that pithy lemon. Though as it passes through the palate, though, the smoke pops in, and it's like that campfire smoke. It's almost like a bacon-esque smoked sausage kind of smokiness, but it's so subtle. And it finishes with an ever so slight smokiness on the back end too, which is really nice, because for me, somebody who, and I've admitted this plenty of times, when it comes to smoked beers, and especially this brewery, it's been hard for me to enjoy them. The style is not really for me. So this is something that I feel is approachable to anybody who says they don't like smoked beers. 4.3%. This is like medium body. This is not thin in the least. It actually has a decent, dare I say, viscosity at 4.3%. But this drinks like a, say, 5.5%, 6% beer. It's not watery. It's not super thin. The mouthfeel, very crisp and effervescent. There's a ton of carbonation, kind of what you expect out of the style. It drinks like in, pretty much an easy drinking German Helles Lager. I mean, there's not much more to say about the mouthfeel and body. For anybody in the comments or anybody that watches this back, if you are on the fence with smoked beers, or if you've had the Rauchbier Märzen or the Rauchbier Urbach, or even the Oak Smoke Doppelbock or anything like that, and you found those to be too heavy with the smoke character, this is the one for you, because it imparts slight smoky characteristics to it, but the base is a Helles through and through, and you can easily crush. Like, I could session this. The smokiness is not building up with each palate. It's just a lingering smokiness on the back end. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Pretty fantastic, honestly. Like, this kind of surprises me, because I didn't think I would really enjoy either of these, and I might not end up enjoying the Krausen, the Helles Märzen fermented Krausen blend. But this one I am enjoying. So straight up rating for this. How is the clarity? Well, they're unfiltered, Jesse. I don't know how it's come off on camera, but it's definitely hazy. It's not like a New England style IPA or anything, but there's definitely, some particulates in there. It's unfiltered. This is not a filtered Helles or anything. It's the clarity is fine, but at the end of the day, it's unfiltered, so whatnot. All right. So what do we got? What do we got here? We have Todd shows up. Buddy Todd says, nice head. Everybody's just keeping it classy today. We have Chris from Off the Tent says, okay, Chris, come on now, man. Come on now. Lee shows up, says, light smoke, bah, toss it away. Lee, you are a time traveler. You need to go back in time. Make some more of that delicious ketchup, but on top of that, maybe pick up some more of these for yourself, because I don't think they're in your neck of the woods. Didn't I send you the Rauchbier Märzen? I almost think I did. Jesse says, or Craig from Camp Beer Review says, hit that like button if you want. Feel free. If not, that's cool too. Jesse says, Helles means bright, meaning clear, damn it. Well, listen, this is a German brewery that's been doing it for a long time, Jesse. I'm not going to argue with what they're doing here, okay? Okay, Jesse, let's not get crazy with the homebrew terminology and stickler for styles, even though I know you like to. Lee says, the regular one, was that you? Perhaps it was. Yeah, I think I sent you so it had a similar label to this one, Lee. But this one is the Helles Märzen. That one that I sent to you was just the straight up Märzen, because this is actually a blend of the one I sent to you and this beer. So I'll be drinking that in a second. But yeah, I think that was the one. Chris says, Lee, you so drunk. LOL. Lee, are you hammered right now? Yeah, I mean, you know what? Rating wise, for my personal score, and I keep this in mind, always my personal opinion on it, it's 4 out of 5. It's a good Helles. I like the characteristic of the smoke quality to this one. It adds a nuance and something different to the beer. And I like the fact that it's not overpowering for my palate. I'm really digging it. So 4 out of 5 for the Helles Schlenkerla Lagerbier from Aecht Schlenkerla Brauerei Heller, I think it's Heller-Trum out of Bamberg. 4 out of 5. Done with that one. Let me cleanse the palate, read some more comments here. We got 420. Christoph shows up and says, "What's good, sons?" Lee says, "Yeah, but that was the bottled version." Then he says, "No, he's not drunk." Yeah, I mentioned before you showed up, Lee, that there's a company in Connecticut that actually brings over these beers on a climate-controlled tanker, and then they can them on site in the U.S. so you can get fresh beer that's been properly kept under the proper temperatures the entire way. So these are the first two I've seen, and I think they're doing the Lent beer for Easter, and that should be showing up soon. And I might grab that to see how it is. Craig says, after show, not tonight for me, Craig. I'm probably out of here by 9:30. If somebody does one after, maybe I'll hop in for like a half an hour or so, but not too much. Lee says, only had 2 beers, Chris. Don't slander me or I'll fight you. Oh, man. Great. And then Ashley says, yeah, 2 60-ounce beers. Wow, I can't believe you used ounces instead of milliliters. Good job to you, Ashley. You're on American channel. I don't know. I just snapped my wrist. Christoph says, haha, 120 ounces for those long days. And then Lee says that's awesome in reference to the beers being actually canned on U.S. soil. Chris says, just cross the Ottawa Bridge and I'll meet you. Yeah, you guys keep on. You know, I watched a couple of those videos and just let me tell you, fantastic. Jesse says, how expensive are those beers, Joe? I want to say I paid $4 each for these, which again, you have to keep in mind that, yeah, they're only 4.5, 4.3%. This one has smoked malts, just the aging process that goes into these, plus they're imported, right? On a tanker, a climate-controlled tanker. So I don't mind paying $4 for quality. These two are quality. I think 4-packs were like 14 to 16 bucks. So you're paying a premium for the quality, but also because it's an import, typically how it goes more often than not, at least in my opinion. And then Lee Russell says to Ashley, you're dead. You guys are crazy. Anyway, so let's go with the Rauchbier. So they call this is worded all crazy everywhere. Like there's, listen, this beer is called like 3 different things. On the label, which I guess I will believe because it's the actual label, it is a Rauchbier. It is their Helles Märzen. So it's this beer, the Helles Lager beer, combined with their base Rauchbier Märzen. And they call it Helles Märzen re-fermented Krausen blend. Now on the back here, they have a spiel here, which I'll read because it's actually interesting what exactly this beer is and how do they get to this, you know, to this conclusion. How whatever beer that they end up blending, how does it get into the can and whatnot, how they go about it. So it says, in the world of German brewing, Krausen refers to the intense proliferation of bubbles and foam formed during the fermentation of young beer. And Aufkräusen is a historic brewing technique in which such a young beer is added to a fully matured lager. The Helles Märzen Krausen blend starts out as a normal Helles lager and matures for months in the old rock cellars underneath the brewery. So this beer starts off as this. And then just before filling it, it is blended using the aforementioned Aufkräusen technique with the classic Märzen Rauchbier, which is the one I just mentioned I sent to Lee and is their most popular beer. The result is an unfiltered, bottom-fermented Märzen Lager blend of amber color and with a vibrant, slightly smoky flavor. 4.5%, also 30 IBUs. And again, I don't know the age of this one. This one is fresher than the Helles. Want to say that they canned this sometime in November of last year. So you're looking at like 4 to 6 months as opposed to, 6 to 8 months. And yeah, I'm really excited to get into this one. Like I said, though, the Rauchbier Märzen, the first one I ever had, wasn't a huge fan of it. Because this is blended with the one that has lighter smoke characteristics, I think I'm going to enjoy this one a bit more. At least I hope so anyway. Anyway, let's crack it open. Read the comments. Jesse says, I thought the tanker would bring them up to trillion prices. No, not that much, buddy. Chris from On the 10 says, in all reality, you're doing a great job, son. Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate the sons. Ashley asked Lee if he really wants to hurt me. Do you really want to make me cry? Christoph says, how to pronounce. Just mix up some hummus and olives and gargle the name. Pretty much. I don't have, listen, everything here, absolutely terrible in general. But when it comes to pronouncing anything that's not English, and even English, I butchered most of the time. Not for me. Rainier Parade shows up and says, I have had all I like, I have had like all the Schlenkerla beers. For many years, we only got the Märzen, and then overnight, the rest of the beers showed up. You were making me thirsty with that lager. Well, that's good, Rainier Parade. Have you seen these show up, Rainier Parade, in cans? Because I'd be curious if you've seen them yet. Lee says, actually, my murder need demands your blood. Shout out to Lee Russell. Okay, shout out to the no longer Hoagley beer reviews, but he did the top or his 5 non-beer related things about himself. He preemptively he did a preemptive strike because he didn't want to be tagged, but he did it in such a great way that you need to go and watch it if you haven't. Eric Gilbert says, "What's up, sons? What's up, Eric? Thankfully, you're here to replace Ewert and you're trolling." Christoph says, "Sexton, nice CC reference." And then he says, "Thanks, son." Kent Beer Review says, "Your uniform suits you." And then Techenbury says, "Good job." Didn't say son, so I'm not going to read it. Anyway, let's give this a pour. Well, right from the beginning, this is already pouring out a bit darker. I'm going to go crazy with the head this time, though. Yeah. So let me fill up this one a little bit, and I'll show you the comparison in colors here. All right, so the comparison colors. This is the blend. Wow, there is so much sediment in there. It's insane. So as you can see between the two colors, definitely this is more like a, a golden. This is like a golden straw color. This is more like a light amber color, like copperish. Tons of sediment in there, though. Suspended animation. About a 2-finger, finger and a half of an off-white head, very creamy looking. But yeah, I don't know how if the sediment is showing up on camera at all. But yeah, that's insane, the amount of sediment in there. Okay, so this smells like straight up campfire smoke. It's very akin to like a smoked ham, more so than like a sausage or a bacon or campfire, actually. I've heard people refer to the Rauchbier itself, the Rauchbier Märzen, and a lot of the regular, I think the Urbach, both of those is like, just smoked meats, and I can see that right here. Well, Rainier Parade says, "Yeah, I have seen them in cans. They showed up a few years ago. Should have looked for them for the hangout." Now, listen, Rainier Parade, you gave me shit about not giving you notice. This has been up for 5 days, so I gave you almost a week's notice. You could have got them this weekend, so it's not my fault. Don't blame me. We have Christoph says at Eric Gilbert, hacking darks and watching Yo instead of Joe. Nice. Ewert says, "I'll be posting my top 5 non-beer things about me later today." Well, no one asked you, Ewert. They didn't. Sorry, buddy. And then Chris says, "Liar." Lee says, "Try to keep up, Ewert. It's already lame to do it now." Yeah, you're just piggybacking on what Lee did. So Ewert, like everything else you do in life, it's already been done and done way better. Sexton Brewing says, "Because no one gives 2 shits to tag you, Ewert." Man, this is a very hateful comment section right now. But everybody who watches this, who doesn't know all these guys, we joke around. That's the way we joke around. That's how we roll. So these guys don't hate one another, except for I'm pretty sure everyone hates Ewert. Christoph says, "Oh, smoke. Oh, campfire smoke." Eric Gilbert says, got deep, moist cough on, so no hacking darts tonight. In the most Canadian voice ever, but I won't do it. Redbeard shows up, says, "What be going down?" Rainier Prey says, "You did give a proper notice, and I failed." I'm sorry, Rare. I don't mean to call you out, but like you said, make sure you do it at least 48 hours in advance. And I'm telling. And at the beginning of this, I said 2 weeks from now, we're doing American Beauty and Sequence from Dogfish Head. Next week, I'm doing Black Butte 38th and Firestone Walker 2022. So, get on it. Yeah, so this is way, way more smoky than the Helles, and you'd expect that. They're actually blending this with the one that doesn't use smoked malts with the Rauchbier Märzen that does use smoked malts. So you'd expect that. This has a very like savory, almost, like I said, smoked ham kind of note to it, which is kind of interesting. And this used to be a turnoff for me, honestly, like 5-6 years ago when I first had these beers. It was just like, it smells like campfire, but now I'm actually enjoying it. Underneath it, though, lots of like caramel, sweet brown bread, like your typical Märzen characteristics, mixing with like a little bit of lemon pith, a little bit of graininess from your Helles. Yeah, it doesn't smell terrible. And I know that sounds just stupid to say because it's like, well, that you're not giving it a glowing recommendation. But again, coming from the angle that I don't really like smoke beers, the nose is very tolerable, dare I say even enjoyable. Anyway, let's get into this one. Cheers, everybody. I'm going to start out by saying this is actually fucking really good. Holy shit. So the proof is in the pudding when it comes to my palate. And I guess in general, how your palate shifts and how it changes. Because 5 years ago, I would have been hating this beer immensely right now. Like absolutely. I would have so much rage in my body with this beer that I would put Redbeard from the other night with the mint milkshake beer from Rochester Mills. I'd put him to shame. I'd go off on this beer. Here's the thing. This is really good. It's almost savory, though. I was getting savory notes in the nose. And when I mean savory, it's almost rich. And it's almost just, it's weird. It's not a dessert beer or whatever, but that smokiness just makes it rich and decadent, almost just like I want to kind of sit here and not chug it. I said the proof is in the pudding, Redbeard. The proof is in the pudding. I didn't say the beer was pudding, so I'm going to need you to settle down, buddy. Yeah, so first off, caramel, brown bread. I am getting the Helles characteristics of that like pithy lemon, a little bit of graininess. As it passes through the palate, though, that savory smoked ham character hits, and it's with you until the end of the palate, basically, and it's lingering on the back of the palate. It doesn't finish clean. Has that smokiness. Has a little bit of bitterness, too, that I wasn't getting in the base Helles. The crazy thing about both of these beers, honestly, is the body of them is like medium body, and they're both sub 5%. I would say the Helles actually has a little bit more body than this. This is like lower side of medium, but at 4.5% and 4.3%, the bodies on this are just great. Like they're just extremely well made. Mouthfeel on this one, very crisp. It's not as carbonated as the Helles, and it has a slight softness and smoothness to it. It's not creamy or anything. Yeah, this is fucking really good. I might have to rethink a lot of styles that I don't like dare I say alt beer. Shout out to you who mentioned it earlier, and everybody else who knows when I joke around with alt beers. Let me wrap this up after I read some, not the entire chat itself, just the beer itself. Let me read some comments because they're flying. Holy crap. Okay. We have Redbeard says to Lee, your 5 non-beer things vid was great, LOL, and it was. Christoph 420, he says, cheers, enjoying some Ruination from Stone and watching Joe. Redbeard chimes in with, he had Ruination a couple weeks ago. It was intense. Christoph says, Joe, I just noticed the colored cans just above you are in order of, okay, yeah, no, it is. It's like a rainbow, son. Drunken One shows up, says, beer time with Joy. Oh, boy. With Joey. Did I just call myself Joy? I think I did. He said with Joe. Oh boy, I was reading that too quickly. What's up, Drunken One? Thanks for showing up, buddy. Chris from Off the 10 says, Joe's looking for an after chat. Anyone? Crickets. I'm not looking for one. I'm saying if someone does one, I could hang out for about a half an hour. So I'm going to need you to settle down, Christopher. Christoph says it is ruinating for sure. I see what he did there. It's a dad joke. And then Redbeard asked if I called the beer pudding. I did not. I said the proof is in the pudding. Apparently, Redbeard's either hammered or not paying attention. Bumpy Road. Jesse says, how do you say Kofi in German? I have no idea. I'm not going to try it. Redbeard said he loved that mint beer. He loved it so much, I think he gave it a 3.5 out of 10. Rod J shows up and says, yo, yo, yo. What's up, Rod? Thanks for stopping by, buddy. And then Christoph says, nice to him. Nice of him to show up, that is. He says, what's good, my bro? And then Ranger Parade says, cool to see you getting into smoke beers. Pair with some meat. Yeah, I definitely need to. Everyone's exchanging pleasantries. We have, Christoph says, Royal Pudding, South Park. And now I have to watch that episode. That's a great episode. Jesse says, Cheerios. Jesse, my entire city smells like Cheerios. So, I would know what they smell. It doesn't really taste like Cheerios. What else we have? Redbeard says, Shreddies. Drunken One says, standing room only up in here. Lee says, good job, Joe. Have a good night. Thanks, Lee. Have a good one, buddy. Awesome video posted earlier. Appreciate you stopping by. Redbeard says, I have evil working a little bit. Otherwise, I'd fire up a hangout. Craig says, cheers, brother. And that's pretty much it. So it looks like Redbeard's not hosting an after show if anyone. Anyway, let's go back to the beer. Just let me finish this up. This is really good. I don't want to keep on harping on the word savory, but this has a savory quality to it. It has that smoked ham, kind of bacon-esque quality to the beer. It's robust. The mouthfeel and body are great. And this has something that the base Helles doesn't have, and that's complexity. And I know when you drink a German Helles, you're not looking for a ton of complexity. You're looking for an easy drinking lager that's well made. And that's what that beer is, with a little bit of smoky characteristic. This one just has more complexity to it. It just has nicer flavors overall. And honestly, this makes me now want to go and grab the Rauchbier Märzen or the Erbach or even the Oak Smoke Doppelbock and give those a go, because 5-6 years ago, hated smoke beers, not hated. I strongly disliked them. I didn't hate them. And my palate could not tolerate them. At this point, I'm enjoying this quite a bit. So somebody's car is absolutely horrendous out there. But it just goes to show you that you know, if there's a style that you don't like and it's been 2, 3, 5 years since you've tried one, give something a go. Give it a second chance, because there are so many styles that I've been trying lately that I've been getting into and enjoying more than I ever thought I would. Your palate constantly changes. I know mine does. And yeah, it's worth the go, honestly. Sexton Brewing says, all the umami, baby. Yeah, let's not quite umami. I mean, no soy sauce in here or anything. Jesse says, I finished my evil job for the week. What was your evil job for the week, Jesse? Chris says, we need ASMR Joe here. If you guys are just tuning in here, just maybe get a couple little soft whispers in. Tingles. Anybody getting tingles? Rod says, convinced that Aecht Schlenkerla translated means good shit. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Eric Gilbert says, I'll give you 2 toonies and a loony if I do a Northern Brunswick accent, but you can't said a boot a son. Eric, I don't know if you're hammered or not. I tried to read that to the best of my abilities, and I don't know what the hell's going on. Rainier Braid says, not one style of beer that I dislike. And that's fair. You know what? As I'm starting to try and retry styles that there's only half dozen styles that I didn't really care for going back 5+ years ago. And at this point, I can't really say I dislike any styles, because in almost every style I found a beer that I could tolerate and even enjoy. But there are specific styles that I don't really care for or really want to revisit. So Christoph says, I just cheered Craig with the UK flag emoji and it pulled it automatically. Yeah, I don't know, man. Is there settings that I have to set on here? Yeah, I don't have anything set to that point. Christoph says, Eric, I can do that. A treat, eh? And then Redbeard says, I'm pretty much to the point where I almost like all the styles. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I like all the styles, but I can say that I don't hate any of them anymore. I don't strongly dislike them. Smoked beers were probably at the extreme bottom of the list for me. And after having these two, definitely going to try more out because it just makes sense to do so. And Christoph says that's $22 Canadian, right, Eric Gilbert? Because he said, I'll give you 2 toonies and a loony. Listen, that's $5 as far as I know. And then Chris says, except Nitro Redbeard, because apparently Redbeard doesn't like the Nitro. I mean, that's not, see, here's the thing, Chris. It's not technically a style. Like, Nitro beers are not a style specifically. Like, it's not, Nitro beer is just not a style. Yeah, anyway, rating 4.25 out of 5 for me for the Rauch, I believe it's called the Rauchbier Kräusen. On here, though, they say Helles Märzen because it is a combination of the Helles and the Märzen under the Rauchbier. Well, the Märzen part is the Rauchbier and the Helles is the base, but they call it the Krausen blend. So we'll just go 4.25 out of 5 for the Krausen blend. If you guys see this, again, around $4 a can. And this one was actually, I believe, bottled and canned for the first time about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. This used to be brewery only, and then they finally released it for the masses. Ewart says, physics is a style? Kind of. Chris says, yes, they are on sub. You better settle down. What a physics? It might physics. Anyway, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to drink. All right, boys, do I do a Coovee? You guys want to see a Coovee? I don't know. I don't feel, should I do a Coovee? Should there be a Coovee done? Is there a reason not to Coovee? All these questions need to be answered. Feel like I should Coovee them, right? I feel like I should Coovee them. Do I Coovee them? I think I should. If I get at least 2 people saying to Coovee them, I will pour them in, do a Coovee. All right, everyone says Coovee. Why not? Let's Coovee them. Is this the Coovee? You are probably the only guy that I know that probably gets that reference when I say it the way I do. I'm pretty sure anyway. Because I don't think does anybody out here follow don't drink beer? Because that's a Coovee. All right, so this kind of looks like a slightly darker Helles there. More particles in there because the Krausen actually had a lot of particles, about a finger of an off-white head. It just looks kind of in between the two. For some reason, the nose is quite muted. I'm not getting a lot of smokiness. I'm getting more of the Helles. I would say that it doesn't smell like anything, really. Yeah, slight, like that lemon character still coming through. Lemon, a little bit of white bread, a little bit of sweetness, not much. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, pros. It's not bad, but I prefer them on their own. I'm getting more of the Helles. The smokiness is kind of just like, I don't, somehow this is less smoky than the Helles. Yeah, this is weird. I'm getting more of the Helles than anything. The lemon, the sweet bread, a little bit of graininess, bigger sweetness. And that smokiness, I don't know if my palate's acclimated to the smoke now, and it's just not doing a whole lot because I've had the Krausen blend now. But yeah, this is kind of a disappointment. I Coovied them, and I shouldn't have done it. Ewart says I got to handle that shit with some sauerkraut, son. Yeah, it's all right. Jesse said he Coovied it into the Helles. It doesn't, Jesse, it doesn't matter. I'm doing a swirl here, buddy. Yeah, don't Coovie these. All right, drink them separately. I would give this. Chris says 3.75 out of 5. I wouldn't even give it that. I soft 3.5 for the Coovie. Disappointment. Anyway, putting them aside now. I'm gonna finish these up shortly. Take a picture of the whole 9. Yeah, Random Parade says after a while your palate gets used to smoke, then you forget about it. Yeah, it really does. Like I said, savory is the best way to describe them. Holy shit, we still got a lot of comments. You were apparently using Google speech. Good job. Good job, Chad. Christoph says, ooh, isn't the loony the coin you flick the center out of it? That's the toonie. And the Redbeard, yeah, Redbeard, he said the exact same thing. That is the toonie. Everybody wanted me to cuvee it. Covey? Jesse says, I don't think it would make a big difference, and it didn't. Todd asks, is that even a real question to cuvee? Touche. Christoph says, there's New Amsterdam in that water bottle. Christoph says, LOL, my Canadian mate says that if it gets cold enough, you can flick the toonie, the center out of it. I'll believe you. Chris says the big beer invaded the little beer. Tekumir says, I give you a review at 98 out of 100. Terrible. Well, that's at least 2 out of 100 that it wasn't. Perfect 88, 93 garbage. Jesus. Yo, there's some terrible comments I cannot read right now. Eric Gilbert says pork schnitzel time. I don't think he's actually eating pork schnitzel. I think he's just BSing. Anyway, pretty much done with the reviews. The Helles Lager. I don't know why I'm crossing over like this in the Krausen blend. 4 out of 5, 4.25 out of 5. If you guys see these in your neck of the wood, and I'd imagine anywhere you see these beers, you should see cans of them. Probably a good idea to seek out the cans just to see if you can tell a difference between the bottles. Probably not a huge difference, but they were canned on U.S. soil, so there might be a difference. Christoph says, I just laughed some ruination out of my beer sniffer. Ouch. I love these chats. They are good. There's a lot of things that I can't say, but if people want to watch us back and look at the comments section, there's some good stuff. Ewart says, such a hipster eating old shit lager so highly. You mean rating? I'm as bad as Dar, apparently. Ewart, listen, you do not listen. Ewart, just let me give you some personal advice here when it comes to the online stuff. Leave the trolling to Eric Gilbert, please. Just leave it to Eric Gilbert. Just do it. Eric Gilbert's a great troll. All right. He does it the proper way. All right, boy. He does. Rare Parade. I already said the beer next week at the beginning, but apparently you didn't see it. So next week, I'm going to have 2 different reviews because there's 2 different milestones that I am celebrating. The first one is my 300th beer review. It's going to be live, and I'm going to do Deschutes Black Butte 30, their anniversary beer. I believe it was from last year. So I'm going to do that for my 300th. And then I'm also going to do Firestone Walker's 22, which is their 22nd anniversary beer. Both of those companies, they get wide distribution. I don't know if you get them in your neck of the wood, Rainier Parade, but a lot of people get Deschutes. I don't get Deschutes, but I did pick up that beer when I was in Ohio, and a lot of people get Firestone Walker. And yeah, It's should be a lot of fun. Both of those beers are like 10+%, so I'm probably going to get hammered. And yeah, should be good times. We have Chris says those reviews were hot, burning hot. And I'm not going to read the rest, Chris. Come on, man. This is a classy chat that's not classy, but totally not that unclassy. Ewart says, F in Google speech, who's Eric Gilbert? He's the guy that does what you do about 700 times better. Redbeard says, Joe is the volcano. Christoph says, this is the first Klingon named beer review I've ever seen. And then Ewart says he blocked Eric Gilbert. Is he saying anything? No, he's not. But despite the fact he's not saying anything right now, he's still doing a better job than you. Oh, Eric Gilbert says, less lager, more pastry stouts. And he says, Gilbert? Well, I don't know. Eric Gilbert? Your last name's probably not even Gilbert. Come on, dude. And then Redbeard trying to get people to come over his show. Check out my channel at 420. I've had 2 of them. Redbeard, no soliciting for your channel. But honestly, everybody in the chat here, from Redbeard to Off the 10th, Kent Beer Reviews, Bumpy Road, not Eric Gilbert, not Taku Murray, because they don't have channels. Who else showed up early on? Drunken One, Sexton Brewing. No Jinx doesn't have a channel, Jeff, but he's a good dude. Lee doesn't do beer reviews anymore, but he does still have a channel. Does the They Must Be Destroyed on Site movie podcast. Check it out if you like movie podcasts. And I think that's it as far as people I need to shout out here at the end. Yeah, so somewhere around 40 minutes long, not too bad. But yeah, so next week, like I said, Deschutes, Black Butte 30, Firestone Walker 22. Now the following week, Rain Parade, Dogfish Head, American Beauty, and Sequench. Oh yeah, Rajay. I shout Rajay out every single time. I always forget. I shout out Rajay so much in my live reviews, and I tout the Beer Flow show that if I forget him, my apologies, but he gets enough shout outs, okay? But shout out, yeah, Rajay Beer Ventures. This Thursday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Beer Flow show like every week. Have fun. Redbeard says Joe is so racist. LOL, Redbeard, listen. You better just settle down because you are the most racist Canadian I've ever known. Eric Gilbert says, too late, son. But he didn't spell it correctly. So now I'd imagine Redbeard's going to attack Eric Gilbert for his grammar skills. Rajay says, guess I'm a nobody now. LOL. You're somebody, Rod. You're just not somebody that I'm shouting out my chat on my review right now. Ewart says, Rod's show is lame-o, never invited me. Hates white folk. No, he just hates you, Ewart. There's a difference, like most of us. Rajay says, feeling like I got fired on ESPN ticker. Yeah, it's about that. Craig says, that was a cheap shout-out. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, Craig, but I shout out Rod all the time, and Rod shouts me all the time. I don't need to shout out Rod. Rod has like triple the subs and viewers I have, okay? He needs to shout me out. And you too, Craig. You're the new king of BeerTube. I need you to shout me out. Redbeard says he would never. Okay, Redbeard, listen. Speaking of Rajay, him and I are privy to some offline chats where you were, something. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Oh, last thing. Yeah. Happy birthday to Craig. You were just mentioning it. It was his, I think, what was your birthday? The other day, Craig? Exactly. Forgot what day, but it was this past week. Happy birthday to Craig. He is now a young 20 years old. Just able to drink. So all of his reviews from like 3-4 years ago, totally illegal. But yeah, Craig has a he did a live review with Jayco Beer. They did Fuller's Imperial Stout a couple days ago. Go check that out. Anybody else I'm forgetting to shout out while I'm here? Just, since you guys want me to shout everyone out, should I? Jesse asked Craig if he did grow an inch. Ewart says, happy birthday to Drunken One. I don't think it was Drunken One's birthday. Christoph says, my son shouts out to everyone. He said he loves that Todd fixed his shower curtain. I don't think he fixed it. I think he just changed it. Drunken One says, not me, July. Drunken One,
ignore Tecumari. Just ignore you, okay? He's trying to troll. He's doing a really poor job. You should be watching Monday Night Raw with his son, but he's a bad father, so instead he's watching somebody review beers poorly on YouTube, and that's on him more so than any of us. So shout out to you for being a terrible person.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think I'm gonna shut this one down because it's just people being themselves, which is good and bad. Good for everyone but Ewart. Bad one's Ewart. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. I will say, when I do the Dogfish Head live in a couple weeks, 2 weeks from now, there might be some friends joining in, and we might actually do like a show of some sort, like the Dogfish Head reviews, but kind of a longer review. We'll see. Depends on who can get American Beauty and Sequench and if they want to review them or not. But we will figure that out in the next week and a half. And also, hey, Redbeard and I are going to do a duo review of whatever the fuck the name is, peanut butter shake beer from the shitty Whitewater brewing company that everyone hates. We're going to do that at some point. And it's going to be terrible. I think Redbeard already drank a can and everyone else hates it. So you were asked if Sam Calagione is going to be on the Dogfish Head show. I mean, you're best friends with him. So if you want to put in a good word, maybe you want to join in with him, and maybe you can tackle me in my living room, for old time's sakes, just make it a different owner of a huge craft brewery and see if we can get that going. You got to get the viral videos going. Should be fun. But anyway, yeah. So we're gonna do that Whitewater peanut butter shake, Redbeard and I, sometime in the next couple of weeks. Also, be on the lookout for the beer tubing spotlight that Rod's going to do on Rod's already did one on Kyle over at No Hype. Go check that one out if you haven't. Rod's wants to get me on there, so I'm going to definitely jump over at some point and get it done. And yeah, Eric Gilbert says, great 50% review, son. Thank you, Eric. Oh, man. Jesse says, Sam Calagione played by Keanu Reeves. That would be interesting. Hey, I'd be tackled by either one of them, all right? Get it in. All right, I'm really shutting it down now. So shout out to everybody, but apparently Rod, because I'm an asshole, but Rod also. Check out everybody's channel. I'll be back next Monday, 300th beer review, 1 year anniversary. Going to be a good time. I'm probably going to get shitty drunk and make a fool of myself more so than I already am. So I know you guys will be all about that. So thank you to everyone who stopped by for the comments. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thanks to everybody who is going to watch on the replay. Remember, timestamps in the description box. And until next week, I bid you all farewell.